Hi everyone, Tim Johnson here, Senior Minister at St John's Diamond Creek, just with an update about how we're responding to the coronavirus. Our Parish Council met last night, 17th of March, and we made the decision, reluctantly but unanimously, that we need to suspend our live Sunday gatherings for the foreseeable future. We're going to stream services online, and we're going to create resources so that people can still be fed from God's word and have a sense of gathering together. But it's our decision that it's simply not responsible and safe to continue gathering in person. I'm very thankful for the leadership of our Parish Council, and the wisdom of that has been shown even today with the government restricting gatherings to less than 100 people. And in coming days and weeks, I imagine that increased restrictions are going to happen as well. At this stage, we're still encouraging people to gather in life groups and smaller gatherings at their discretion. We want people to act safely, but we also realise that community is very important to who we are as the church. It's helpful to reflect on this decision in light of the vision that we have as a church, which is not going to change because of this. Our vision is that we're an intergenerational community who is loving like Jesus, growing in Jesus, and sharing Jesus. Because we are an intergenerational community with people from age 0 through to their mid-90s, we have a lot of vulnerable people in our church community, people who are older, people who are recovering from cancer treatments, people whose immune systems or breathing is compromised. And so we need to think about all of our community and keeping everybody safe. We want to love like Jesus. Love is practical. Love needs to be put into action. And this is a decision which we're making in order to love our neighbour the way that Jesus has taught us to. Love means washing our hands so that we're not passing viruses on to other people. Love means making sacrificial decisions to stop doing things that are important to us to create that social distance so that we're not spreading disease to the more vulnerable people in our church, but also in our wider community. It's an attempt to flatten the curve, as we've been encouraged to do by the government. We also need to think in terms of loving people in this climate. How can we continue to offer really good pastoral care to each other in a situation where there's increased isolation, where people are quite anxious and fearful? And as a staff team, we're thinking about how we can up the amount of pastoral care, up the amount of phone contact, email contact, and creative digital solutions to continue to care for each other and to make sure that we're loving the way that Jesus wants us to love. We want to continue to grow in Jesus. Just because we're not meeting in the same way, we don't want to stop growing in our relationship with Jesus. Can I call our church community to increased prayer? We really need to pray at the moment. We need to pray for our leaders, that they would have wisdom. We need to pray that this virus would be stopped and it wouldn't have as big impact as has been predicted. Where we have more time available to us, perhaps because we're isolated, it's a chance to deepen our prayer life. Can I encourage you to keep your spiritual rhythms, and particularly your Sunday worship rhythms? We'll be providing content each Sunday. We'll be continuing through our preaching program and providing online offerings so that if you have been used to gathering at 9:30 or at 6 o'clock on a Sunday, you can continue to do that with the content that will be available to you. If it's safe to do so, you might do it with a smaller gathering, perhaps with your life group, so that you can continue to come before God in prayer and learning from his word at that time. There are going to be times perhaps in the future where we are more isolated, and rather than thinking of this as a disadvantage, we can see this as a chance to go deeper with God and ask, God, how are you going to minister and grow me at this time where there are challenges ahead for us? And lastly, we want to continue sharing Jesus with others. We believe that we've got really good news in Jesus Christ. And at the moment, it's a great opportunity for us as Christian people to be light in the midst of a lot of darkness. We've seen around us people selfishly hoarding and buying up all of the toilet paper themselves rather than sharing with other people. And as Christians, we've got a better way that we can offer. We can be different and show that Jesus makes a significant difference to us, to be people of grace and love and forgiveness, seeking ways to be selfless rather than selfish and reach out to other people. And ultimately we can do this because we have a really sure and solid hope in Jesus. In the midst of anxiety and fear that is out there, we are people who have hope because Jesus is risen from the dead. We've got confidence that whatever happens over the coming weeks and months, that our future is assured in Jesus, that even death is not the end for us because Jesus will take us to be with him and has assured us of that. We have a God who is in charge and is powerful, and we have a God who loves us deeply and cares for us in all of the circumstances of life. This is a wonderful thing for us to know in the midst of this situation. It's also a wonderful thing for us to live out and share with others in the midst of their fears. I'm praying that people would come to know Jesus in the midst of our current crisis as they call on him in these uncertain times. Our website, stjohnsdc.org.au, will have the most up-to-date information so you can check in there as things progress. For now, I encourage you to pray, and I look forward to connecting with you this Sunday in a different format but online. Please do join us.